Again, everyone, and welcome back to the Damsel Success Podcast. I am so excited to have you back here with me today. So as promised from yesterday, I want to go ahead and dive into the second part of the divorce diaries, okay? So yesterday we kind of talked about the internal struggle that we face, the external struggle that we face, and how, kind of stopping that on the front end, if at all possible, is going to be the best case scenario. Of course, nobody goes into a marriage to expecting a divorce. It just does. You're weird if that happens. So don't do that. That's not how things work. There's sometimes, and this is true in my case, where you're acting on emotion, which is it's not proven to be the best thing that I've ever done in my whole life. So take a second, step back and reflect and use that logic instead of acting on that emotion. And that's going to save you a lot of trouble later on. And of course, there's some things that are totally out of our control. People change. There's really not a whole lot that we can do about that. But no matter how they change and how horribly that they treat you, none of that is your fault. Nothing that anybody else does is because of you or your actions, okay? They can say that all day long, but ultimately we're responsible for ourselves and ourselves only, okay? And yeah, if you're a crappy person, you may bring some of that on yourself, but ultimately each person is responsible for their own actions. And if somebody is cheating and saying it's your fault, or, they're being abusive to you in any way and say that it's your fault, that's time to get out and go now. Skedaddle. Leave. I'm telling you, nobody needs to put up with that crap. That's ridiculous. Don't do it. But the second part that I want to talk to you guys about today is the amazing growth that you experience after you finally let go of what's not meant for you. Even if you guys split and there's nothing, traumatic that happened, if you guys just grew apart, which happens, that happens, okay? And that's totally okay. But it's whenever you finally learn to let go and let God, that's been one of the greatest blessings of my life, is whenever I figured out that whenever I thought that I was alone and I thought that I was, just trying to tough it out by myself, that God never left me. Even whenever I left him, he never left me. And it's okay. No matter if you've accepted him and you've shunned him or you've never accepted him, it's always the perfect time to invite him back into your life. And, we all make mistakes. And that's like, we were talking about that in church this morning, how it's a cycle. That, we may fumble or we may find ourselves in a bad situation or whatever, but we can always come back to God and we can always ask for forgiveness, and he's willing to do that. That's what he yearns to do, is to forgive us and come back into our lives. No matter how far away that we've gotten from him, he's always wanting to come back. We just have to invite him. And I think that that's been, they always say things are darkest before dawn. And I think that that's absolutely true, because whenever I left right around Christmas of 2015, and it was traumatic. It was absolutely traumatic. I mean, I had no money. I had no nothing. I had to quit my job. I moved about 2 hours away. And, I was broken, to say the very least. I mean, those of you who know that knew me during that time, y'all know how, those of you who have been through something like that, you're just not yourself. And you're like a shell of a person, because whoever, whether it's a relationship or whatever, if you've been through any kind of abuse, it is so difficult to try to find yourself again. So I'm not downplaying that at all. If you're currently going through it, if you're looking to go through it, if you've been through it, you know how tough it is. But you know that it's worth it to do it, to just get it done, because things are only going to go up from there. Okay. I'm not saying things are going to be perfect all the time. You're going to have times that are really tough. There's going to be days that are really, really hard, that you have to make that conscious effort to get through, that you have to, and I think that's the thing that if I could go back and tell and do something different and tell you guys what I would have done differently, it would be to start trusting in God earlier. Because it wasn't until about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that I really got serious with my faith. And, it took me 2 years to get my divorce. And it would have been a whole lot easier if I had had God there, or if I had have consciously been seeking God instead of trying to do everything myself. And I think that that's where I've grown the most as a person, is spiritually. And like I said, it would have been so much easier if I had have just trusted in him from the get-go. But, I just want you guys to know that it's possible, that you can do it. That if you put your mind to it and you want it bad enough, you will find a way to get out and just let God handle the rest, okay? Because the second that we step back and stop trying to handle everything ourselves and just surrender everything to him, then it's going to be so much easier on us. It's, I spent a long time, battling all these emotions, and I was angry and I was sad and I was upset and I was anxious and I was, all of these really, really negative feelings, and they were taking a toll on my life. And, whenever I finally just said, you know what? This life was not meant for me. That is not what I was intended to do. That person was not mine to have. And, this is not the person that I'm intended to be. So I need to get my crap together and get up and get after it. And I set a goal. I said, all right, I am going to be the best at whatever that I decide to do that I can possibly be. I'm going to be the best mother. I'm going to be the best representative at this bank that I can be. And, now I'm working into real estate, and I'm going to be the best daggum realtor that I can be. And, I like we talked about the other day, too, I had to let my past die so that I could live. I blamed myself for a lot of the things going on, and I had to realize that was not my blame to keep. That was not, and, did I make mistakes? Absolutely. But those were not mine to keep either. I had to acknowledge them, and I had to move on. And that's what you guys have to do. It's so tough, but if you get away from that situation, the worst possible thing that you can do is put yourself right back in it. And I know that that's hard to do because we want to go back and we hear all these promises and we know things are going to be different this time, right? You guys ever heard that one? Things are going to change. They're absolutely not. It's not going to happen. They may change for a little while, but until that you guys find a common ground and you guys find God together, it's not going to work out. And a lot of times those people are just not willing to do that. They're after themselves, and you can see that because they're going to do whatever they can to hurt you a lot of times. Once that you've left and you break that control that they have over you, they're still going to try to hurt you. And that's probably the worst part about it. But once you learn to say, all right, you know what? I have no reason to be mad. That's not my grief to hang on to. That's not my problem anymore. What I need to be worried about is growing and maturing and being the best at whatever that I decide to be that I can be. And that's what you guys have. You have to come into that mindset of don't worry about whatever they're doing. They're not your problem anymore. You have to grow and you have to evolve and you have to worry about yourself. Believe me, you got plenty to worry about with yourself. Ask me how I know. Don't worry about what they're doing. They are going to try to hurt you. The enemy is going to try to tell you that you have to pay attention to whatever that they're doing and you have to be caught up in whatever they're doing. And that's not the case. You have moved on. You've taken the biggest step. That first step is the biggest step. It's the hardest step. But once you take that step, do not look back. You take off running. Run, Forrest, run. You just keep running and keep getting towards your dreams. Whenever you get away from it, then you can take everything that is broken and rebuild it into what you want to be and what you are meant to be. And it can be something beautiful. And I promise you, if you put your time, effort, and energy towards it, you can do it. I have 100% faith in you. I believe in you. I know you can do it. If I could do it, Lord knows you can. So you got this. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Do not ever hesitate to reach out to me and ask, and I will do everything that I can for you. I promise you. I hope that you guys have an amazing Sunday, and we'll talk to you again soon.